Hello, everyone, and welcome to Brooklyn Free Speech's Media Talks. I'm your host, Jessica Mason. BRIC is one of the leading presenters for free cultural programming in Brooklyn and one of the largest in New York City. BRIC is dedicated to helping artists and media makers in their effort to develop work and reach new audiences. Now, Media Talks was designed for experts and professionals in the industry to come and share their knowledge and experiences with the community, anywhere in the neighborhood from copyright infringement to hosting or distribution. Now, today's Media Talk is Girls in Gear, and I have with me three amazing women that not have only developed a career, but have sustained a level of success in the field dominated by men. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome Monique Granby, Jina Johnson, and Kathryn Moore. Ladies, thank you so much for being with us here tonight.
Thank you for having us.
All right. So let's go around. Monique, we'll start with you. How about you give us a little bit of your background and how you got into the industry?
Sure, absolutely. So I was born in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Grew up in Southern California, otherwise known as behind the orange curtain, and became a woman in Brooklyn. I started off my journey as an actor, so that's what led me back to the East Coast. And as I was trying to pursue my theater career, that's when I started to really find what my true passion was, which was writing. So I joined a screenwriting group and started on that journey. And then as my journey began into technology, it was actually kind of something really funny that kind of happened. So I bought a Dell computer, the board died, and I was like, okay, I want to get this fixed. Dell was going to charge me something enormous amount, and I'm like, okay, let me just Google it. So that was my entry into technology, and leads me here today.
Okay. All right. So we have one lady who's on the real tech aspects of it. Now, Janae, I've seen your resume. It's extremely long. You have multiple titles. So why don't you tell us where you started?
Oddly enough, so I'm from Washington, D.C. Shout out, D.C. Howard University, anybody? HU? Yeah, so honestly, I started when I was 13 years old. I saw a show, if you guys are familiar with Black Entertainment Television, BET, there was a teen talk show that they had called Teen Summit, and I used to watch it, and this girl that I went to junior high school with got to meet Redhead Kingpin, which is an old school artist, and I was like, I want to be on that show. And so I watched it and took down the numbers and auditioned and got it, and then had to tell my mother and father, like, can I go be on TV now? And so they allowed me, and so I did 4 years as like one of the hosts on that show. And then when you get bit by the bug at any point in television or entertainment or whatever, it never goes away. So don't try to force it. So I went to school, studied TV and film, and I just decided that whatever I was going to do, I just was never going to get put out of it. So I did every internship, music, anybody that would let me in, I would do that. And so to this day, like anybody that gives me any type of job in television, film, entertainment, so from producing to editing and directing and writing and all that, television, film, web, it doesn't matter for me. So that's how I got up here.
All right.
Cool.
Well, I'm originally from Chicago. I was born in Chicago. I grew up in Denver, and 2018 makes my 20th year here in New York. And I've been working in film and TV the whole time. I got into it in a kind of a roundabout way. I was actually in the military when I was very young, and I worked in a communications company in the 101st Airborne Air Assault, and I was a logistics specialist. And on the side, I had a friend who had a music studio, so I started learning how to make beats, like in my spare time. And I was working with the USO doing concert promotions, and I was like, you know what? I need to get out of the Army because I'm a creative person, go back to school, and I studied music, film, television, business management, and production. And I moved to New York because I learned in school that I either needed to come to New York or LA to really work professionally. And I felt like New York would be more diverse. I would have more opportunities to actually get involved. I made my first film in school called Smoke in the Glass. It was a documentary about cocaine addiction and crack addiction. And I won awards as a student. And then I came to New York in '96, and I literally just got all the pages from the phone book of every production company, television company, and I applied to all of them. And then I just moved here, and I started working as an executive assistant until I got an offer to work at this place called Video Portfolios for half as much money. But Chris Evans was an intern in that office, and they did casting and everything, so I had got an opportunity to work in every aspect of production, lighting, shooting, producing, and even just like running this, small production business. And yeah, I started editing actors' reels, and then I just kind of fell into editing a lot. I started editing a lot, and then I started freelancing with Oxygen when they launched. And I was like, wow, I could make more money in one day than I can for the whole week, so I'm about to quit that job. I'm editing now. Freelancing, editing, yes, that's what I'm doing. So yeah, now it's fast forward, it's been 20 years. Love it, yeah.
All right, well, look at that. Now you have 3 professional women, all in different aspects, but still behind the camera, which is something we don't get to see the majority of the time. They always push women to the forefront, but never show the women from behind the scenes, and that's what the point for tonight was, to show how these ladies work from behind the scenes. So for Monique, at one point you used to work for Apple, correct?
Yes.
Now, where did that lead to?
So I started off at Apple. I was a mobile technician, and as I realized that my career was a little bit stuck in neutral there, an old manager of mine approached me about this new company called Enjoy, and he was touting that this was going to be a new way for people to experience emerging technologies. So I'm like, okay, great, new company, new experience. I currently work there now, but basically it's like the seamless of technology. So things from like DJI drones to boosted boards, iPhones, Android phones, wireless networks, and so forth. People are able to purchase those products, and then we'll bring them to them and plus show them how to use it. So that aspect of it really appealed to me, is being able to help other people experience technology and find out how to use it in their life, whatever way they want to use it, because right now technology is so accessible and it's growing to be increasingly so. So that's what really, piqued my interest and made me jump ship from Apple to Enjoy.
See, folks, there actually stuff that goes on behind those iPhones and our iPads and all our Apple products. So, Janae, you listed, like I said, a number of titles for us. So I just have one question. Where did the industry take you versus where you wanted to go?
That never happens. So here's the thing. I'll say money took me places, right, versus where I wanted to go. So industry just is whatever it is, and there's every job, there's 1,000 of them, and you just plug in wherever you like, right? But I would say that I made money decisions at a certain point, right? And and sometimes you know how it goes, y'all. We take a job because we need some work, and like Kathryn was saying, I started editing because I was like, good Lord, this is a lot of money, and so and I just followed that. But I will say, the industry took me. It opened up a portal in digital. And I never, because when I was in school, digital was like a little baby thing, right? So I never thought about, like, now this is a different world. There are TV shows, like, you might go, I don't even have cable anymore. And as a little kid, that's television my life. So I don't even have cable anymore. I have a Roku, and I don't want cable. I only want my Roku. And so 7 years ago, you couldn't told me that I would only want this digital thing. And so now it kind of broadened things. And honestly, where it took me, it let me know you can make money anywhere. You just have to decide how you want to make money. That could potentially be a challenge, right? I started out in on-air. I still do stand-up comedy. I do on-air stuff or whatever. But though, that is a lane where you just have to find a place for yourself on air, right? Someone has to choose you, or you have to write something or work on something that puts you there. But for me, so when I'm not doing that, or if I'm not under contract with a network, then how do you make your living? Or what's how do you push forward with your art and the things you want to do? And so I'll say the industry guided me to know that you got to run your whole ship all the time. So if you want to be in this business entirely, right? So then how do you live your life in this business? And how do you make money in this business? And so earlier on, someone just told me, like, just splinter yourself. Right? There's 1,000 things we can do, and 1,000 things that you may have interests in. So it forced me to prioritize. So if I'm at BET and I'm on air for this amount of time, and the presidents change, right, or something changes, and then this person doesn't necessarily want to go in this direction anymore. They want to go in this direction. You can get carried out with the tide, or brought in with a new tide, or forced to change. And so, someone had this quote, be like water. Like water can flow or it can crash. And so I'll say the industry in my career has forced me to be like water.
Okay. Very interesting. Very interesting. Very nice. Okay, so Kathryn, from, what was that, Denver you said? From Denver to New York, from the military to Oxygen, what were some of the challenges, the biggest challenges you might say that you would have faced along the way, and how did you handle it?
It's interesting because I have this perspective where I feel like everything is about your perspective or your attitude and how you perceive things. So I don't really look at things as being a challenge. Like, I consider myself being competitive, and I know that I have to be on a certain level in order to exist, as Janae is saying, in this industry. And so I would say that my challenge, I guess, is keeping a fresh mentality, keeping my professionalism, keeping my cool, keeping my focus, no matter what I'm doing, because I have done such a wide range of work, and it's always different. So, like, I once did a pilot for this show called Ready, Steady, Cook. It was one of the first competitive cooking shows. And the premise of the show is that there's two chefs, and there's a set amount of ingredients that you both get. And then there's like one surprise ingredient that you get. Then there's a surprise person that you got to get from the audience who's also going to have an ingredient, and you got to work with them and incorporate and make your 3 meals, and then it needs to be competitive and be well. So the challenge with that is, like, that's how I kind of see every project that I do. Everyone is different. There's going to be factors that I won't know, either technologically or to do with the production or the different personalities of people that I have to work with. So I would say the challenge was always looking at each thing for what it is, being present in this day for this project. Taking the value of whatever experiences you have, but being open to, like, changing and just doing things differently or approaching it in another way based on whatever logistics.
So let's get to the financial aspects of it.
Yes.
Here's a question for all of you. How were your salaries moving forward in comparison to your male counterparts? And does the union have any influence on that?
Yes. With the industries that we are currently in, there are unions, but in the tech industry, there really isn't. I was just reading today, there's an organization called Silicon Valley Rising, and basically they're a collective of unions. So they've got AFL-CIO, they've got clergymen, community partners, and they're basically helping tech contractors. So that's a start, I think. But we definitely need unions in the tech space. But yeah, we need some help.
It's interesting. I don't know. I don't know what they're doing, but we getting these money in these streets, ladies. Okay, I'm not worried about it. I mean, I literally couldn't tell you what the male counterpart that I am. I couldn't tell you, but I will tell you that and this is, for me, it's just an encouraging thing, because I will tell you that my last boss, who has since been let go, he told me, like, on the day I started and we were talking salary, he was like, listen, I had to take a pay cut so that you could be on this team, because they wanted me on the team and I wasn't a part of the factor, and they didn't cut my money. So, I looked at that honestly as like, well, good. So I will say, I can't say, because I do a lot of different jobs. I will say, always ask for what you want. And then if you ask for what you want and you got what you asked for, then run it with blinders on. And as soon as you find out somebody's making more money than you find out how to get what they got. You know what I'm saying? Like, just, and so mine is just kind of, I don't know what they're doing. When I find out what they're doing, it adjusts what I want. Okay. And then I attack it like a dog.
Okay.
For me, I would say that I have definitely paid attention to what males are getting. I don't know if I would consider people necessarily counterparts, because I believe that I stand out and I stand alone, and my compensation has to do with me, and it should be commensurate with my experience and expertise. And I know that as a black woman, I've had to be twice as good to get half as far. So some of the male counterparts who might be getting paid the same amount of money as me might not be as dope or talented as I am, frankly. However, I would say that I've asked people and I've had questions. I'm a member of the New York and Los Angeles editors collectives, and we have conversations about rates and standards and things of that nature. So I know what my rates were when I started 20 years ago to 10 years ago to what they are now. I know that I've also seen males who may have been an assistant of mine a year or two ago, and we're working on the same series, and there's a chance that our line item is the same, that we're getting paid the same amount of money. And I know that there are people who ask for a lot more, and I continue to do that. I think that I'm worth it. And I feel that some people have trouble. I can just see it in their face or their tone when I tell them how much I want to get paid. Like, I feel that some people have trouble paying black women the same amount of money as they would pay a white male, frankly, to do the same job. And yeah, I stand up about it. I am in a union. I'm in the Motion Picture Editors Guild. I feel like they're stronger in LA than they are in New York. So sometimes unions will negotiate a positive deal, and sometimes they will negotiate a horrible deal where they want you to work for 55 hours a week as a minimum, and you don't get paid overtime unless yada, yada, yada. So I have my own terms and conditions no matter who I work with. I always let them know, no free overtime, limited amount of hours, because it doesn't take me all day to do this amount of work. I'm not an hourly employee. I'm bringing this value to the table, and this is what I want to be compensated for. Sometimes it doesn't work. Some people, it's like they have a chance to take it or leave it. Or sometimes I'm in between gigs, and it's like, all right, I'll take that for now.
For now.
So bottom line, stand your ground, fight for what you're worth and what you want.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me ask you, what does it take for one to get into the union? Because there are several of them.
Well, for me, I've worked briefly for like a few years. I did CBS News with the CBS This Morning with Gayle King and Charlie Rose, and, you know, for a few years. And that was just, once you get the job, once someone, you know, puts you on, you know, a lot of this is like, hey, my friend is there. Hey, I know this amazing editor. I know this amazing producer. Can you come in? And so it was just, you had to join. So that was my thing. And it has its pros and cons, but I had to join.
Okay. So
You have to get work before you can actually get into the union.
Right.
When you're talking about
Some productions are unionized, so if they want you to work on that production, it's not jobs that they would list that you can apply for. They would say, hey, are you interested in doing this? And if you do it, it's a union production, so they will automatically even pay the fees for you to be in the union to work on the show or at that network.
Right. So keep that in mind, folks, as you start applying for positions. So, Monique, since you started off as an actor, we all know that the roles for minority women specifically are far and few in between. Is it the same for women in behind the scenes as well?
Yes, but it's getting increasingly better. I would say, like, organizations, especially recently, like Time's Up, is, you know, broadening that conversation and putting it in the forefront. So I think it'll get increasingly better. But I think what's going to help is that we need more females and more diversity in the decision-making positions. So they can hire, you know, the producers, they can hire the directors, they can hire the showrunners that are then going to hire that new, diverse female talent and bring them in. Because right now there still isn't like a ladder for, you know, for white males there is, you know, but for black females and other women of color there isn't quite yet. But I think it's getting there.
Not yet. So it's
not yet. It's on the way. TBD.
Okay, so Janae, throughout your journey, because we all have mentors and have folks that help us along the way and guide us, who might have been a great influence to help you get you through your career or in life, for that matter?
Oh man, you know, there's 1,000, right? Shout out to my mommy, you know, and my father, who said the only mistake people ever make in their lives is an overestimation of their power in any given situation. And so knowing that, even when I'm in a job and I want to advance, or I'm in a situation or something like that, that runs through my head, and it kind of helps me to, am I overestimating my power right now? Like, you know, things like that. So it just kind of helps you stick and move a little bit. I will say 2 great pieces of advice that I got. I've had mentors along the way. People will tell you I accost them. So I meet you at a film festival, and if you'll talk to me, this was like fresh out of school. If you'll talk to me for 10 minutes, I'm gonna get the number. I'm gonna email you. I'm gonna call. And the thing is, mentors, they're not always there forever, right? So these aren't people but I will get a hook in you, and I'm at least gonna try to get a meeting. I was very big on informational interviews. So I would just ask someone, please, can I just get 10 minutes? And so I got a lot of people were always willing to do 10 minutes. And then some people would, I had a writer friend who wrote Remember the Titans. His name was Gregory Allen Howard, wrote Remember the Titans and Ali. And he was like, okay, I'll talk to you. And he would talk to me, and he let me, organize his office. And and while I was in the Virginia area, I organized his office whenever he would let me, and then he would just give me books to read and stuff like that, and things to do in screenwriting. And so I had several of those, but one piece that I'll just say really quickly that stood out to me, it was a man named David McPherson, and he was the head of A&R with Epic Records under Sony Music, and really he founded Backstreet Boys and a bunch of other great artists. And I remember being in his office, and I said to him, someone had come in the office, and it was like a barber or something shaving somebody's hair, and he was, they came out of the office, and they were talking about, he was going I would have a great idea for the next music video, and he was like, okay, we should talk about it. And I looked at him because I'm filing away in my little intern space, and I was like, you never talked to me about being a director. I want to do that too. He was like, you never told me that. He was like, oh, you sat here outside my office all summer wanting to do something that I hire people for, and you never told me that? And exactly. I was like, oh, what do you say? What do you, oh. And that changed me. And I never made that mistake again. And now every place I'm in, everybody knows everything I can do, everything I want to do. And that was years ago, and now I'll say that served me.
So we all know hindsight is 2020. Kathryn, what would you tell your younger self when you first started? What would you tell your younger self first starting out in your career, knowing what you know now?
I don't know. I feel like being naive and feeling that I could just accomplish anything was good. If I had known some of the challenges and things, I might have been more calculated and not just taken that leap of faith. Yeah. I mean, maybe to save more money.
Yeah.
Honestly, yeah.
Well, can you elaborate on some of the projects you might have worked on in the beginning?
Yes, so early on, the first TV documentary I did was Roadmap to Pearl Harbor for the History Channel. I worked with a young lady who was a mentor, who became a big sister to me, Leslie Farrell. It was really amazing. Emmy, Ace, Peabody Award-winning producer, writer, director, and I did several other films with her after that, including the first African American Lives on PBS. So that was with Oprah, T.D. Jakes. So that's the show that's now called So Who Do You Think You Are? So we did the first one. I was the lead editor on that series. Yeah, that was 2005, and it's kind of a blur. I've done so many projects at this point. Recently I did Chris Paul's Chapter 3 for ESPN Film, so that was fun and challenging. Also a sports documentary, and I'm not an expert of basketball, so that was just creatively cool. Jay-Z is on the album. I also, when I first started out, one of the things that I did at that small production company, I shot castings, so I ended up being in the Hard Knock Life video with my daughter Madeline, who's right there. She was 4 years old at the time. If you go back and watch it, she's shooting a bubble gun in the Marcy Projects. I didn't know where I was because I had just moved here from Denver, so it just felt somewhere far out in Brooklyn. But now I know, and it's oh, that was a historical moment. I didn't even know what I was doing, really. I just wanted to go to see their production, get on set as much as I could, see other artists' approach to filming and things of that nature.
So you ladies seems like you have a lot of experience, have had challenges and extended careers. Or what would you say to a young woman now who wanted to go into the business on the tech aspect? How would you guide her or tell her to proceed?
Do it. Don't think about it. Oh, what you want to do? Go do it.
Well, I would say also that technology is very accessible now. The average person now has a computer. And even a lot of the software and programs that used to be tens of thousands of dollars, now you can get a monthly subscription. So for me, I definitely learned things by hands-on, especially if you're thinking about anything computer based, just like get the program on your computer at home and just try it. If you want to make a film or tell a story, just go out and do it and just learn as you go along. I mean, you can take courses, and BRIC has the programs here, but I definitely feel that it's great to just take it upon yourself to create opportunities for yourself, whether you're an actor, a writer, or director, instead of just always trying to apply for jobs and internships. If you have skills or interests, just follow them, follow your passion. Like, it's not that expensive now. You can use your phone to shoot something. You can call up an expert, like Janae said, bug people, go to different little seminars, and just try to put your voice out there, because now that's available. Now you don't have to work at a network. You can publish your own work online and attract millions of views. Now people are paying for people to try to create content like that, but you can actually do that yourself.
And I would just say, too, on the tech end of it, too, there's organizations like Code Academy, which is very simple, like if you want to code or learn about that. But I would also just, surround yourself with people who are in the desired industry that you want to be in, because it's real important to be, supported and have that network of people that's going to help push you forward and challenge you.
And I would just say, just real quick along the lines of just plot on it, right? Like, so if you're going to go to the grocery store, you have your list, you know what you want to go to, you know where the store is, what neighborhood it's in, and how much money, how much, if it's expensive or it's not expensive. And so I would say treat this journey like that. I don't care how old you are. So I tell people when I give advice to, to people who want to be in this business in any regard, who's your goal? Like, so look at who your goal is, right? And then backtrack, just from a research perspective. What did they do? Where did they go? You can also stalk the people that they went, that they can do that route. But like they were saying, now if you're talking editing equipment, music, audio, you can buy it. You can go on YouTube. You can learn about it. If you're talking about getting a gig someplace, find out. I used to watch the credits in a show. Those people are people. They will answer the phone. So just, I would say, stalk your prey, learn about it, and then just don't let up until you got whatever that is.
Okay. Final question for all three of you. What was more of a challenge? Being a female or being black?
Well, I'll start this because I actually had this conversation with a male friend of mine, who's a very good friend, and he asked me this about a week ago, and I really had to stop and think about it. And I've come to the conclusion that it is absolutely being black. And the reason being that there's so many more stereotypes being black than there are being a woman. Take your pick, driving white black, smile. So I think it's more of a challenge overcoming those stereotypes and moving forward from that than it is being a woman.
It's funny. I want to say black. That's what I want to say in my heart. But I primarily, though, I worked a lot in black entertainment. So I've literally worked in all the black spaces, and I enjoyed that. And I've worked with, the NBCs and the CBSs and that stuff, too. I didn't enjoy it as much, but also because I didn't feel like the content was just as interesting to me, right? So for me, it has absolutely been being a woman. I've faced those challenges I don't even want to go into the details. It wasn't anything, I've never felt, unsafe or, anything like that. I just feel like, at times maybe my voice was maybe perhaps not appreciated as much, or my experience may not have been, just like a skosh off. You can tell this person is addressing you in this manner, in this way, because in some way they feel that they're better than you. And I haven't experienced that as much in my white spaces as a result, in my mind, of my color. But I have experienced that in all of the spaces. To me, it felt much more like my gender. And those things kind of go on regularly. So, yeah, being a girl.
I think it's compounded. Like, I have 4 brothers. I'm the only girl. I was used to being in male environments. I was in the Army. So I never really felt, I did track. I was always strong physically. So I didn't really feel the gender thing, but I just think being a black woman is a very unique thing that is its own thing. That there are some very great and positive things about it. There are attributes, you know, like I was working on a project and somebody was like, we want you to put your sauce on it. And it's like, I know what they mean by that because we're black and because I'm a black woman. If they said that to Amy, she might not have known what they meant by that. But on the same token, it's like, to Janae's point, people will sometimes address you in a certain way because you're a woman, but then an even extra level because you're a black woman. Or because they're afraid of your power or your presence. It's like some people love it and some people hate it. Like I have a strong black person presence that I don't apologize for everywhere I go. And I can tell when people are embracing it, and I can tell when it's an issue, a major issue for people. And sometimes that has been an issue to a point where it's like, okay, can I finish this gig? Do I need to quit? Am I going to go off on this person? Are they going to find out if that angry black woman is really inside that they're afraid of, you know? But at the end of the day, it's like, you know, I love black women. I feel like we're so awesome. All the black women that I've met and worked with, I've had the pleasure of working with Janae, have been just so talented and just exceedingly like up there. So that makes me feel great when I see that. So I don't feel that that's a challenge in that way. It's like, it's a blessing. Like, we gave birth to civilization. We're the first people who did everything, made everything. So I don't feel that that's a challenge. I feel that it's a power that we have. But on the same token, sometimes for other people, it's an issue because they have an issue. But that doesn't mean that I'm going to then take their issue, make it mine, and let it be a challenge for me because I'm there to get paid and do whatever I'm doing.
Let me ask you this. Did you ever feel or have to compromise or feel compromised?
Oh. All the time.
I wouldn't say compromise, but there have been times where, as I've gotten more mature, I may not have necessarily clapped back, snapped back, gotten mad, or quit, or told people off because I had to weigh, like, all right, I got kids, I need this money. I'm not their employee. I'm working with them for 3 more weeks. I can get through this and go on and do that. Now, I didn't compromise my ethics. I can say that I've never done that, and I very intentionally have worked on projects where I feel that I can contribute to the voice of stories that are being told about black people by black people in a positive light. That's not the same as perpetuating the stereotypes like your cops and things of that nature. And so that's always something that I intend to do. And as long as I have options, I'm not compromising that. I'm not going to work on ratchet stuff where there's 40-year-old black women hitting each other. I'm not trying to support putting that message out there. So I'm not going to, that's just not an option for me.
Definitely understandable. Well, thank you so much, ladies. So now I'm going to open it up to the audience. Who has questions? I'll come around with the mic. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm coming. Okay.
Hello. Hi. I'm a little shy, so my name is Andrea, and I'm a professional dog trainer, and I've been doing it for 20 years, and I've not met another black dog trainer. And so in that journey from being here, California, and having clients here, I said, you know what, I should do a TV show. So me and one of my clients, we filmed a TV show. Well, not a whole TV show. We filmed a segment a couple of years ago, just her and I, and we edited everything. And at the end of it, I was like, God, this looks really great. So I was like, oh, I want to take this to Oprah. She has to see this. I want to be a mentor. I want to show kids that we can do this as well. And so I came to BRIC, and they welcomed me in, and they took my content, and they said, hey, we'll give you some spots here, and you can do whatever you want to do. So I wanted to ask you, me starting out just as the talent, how do I take something at a channel, a local channel like here, and get the experience to take it to a bigger channel in the long run?
I would say, are you familiar with IMDb? So IMDb is a database where you do have to pay, but it is worth it because you're able to connect with some producers and people that you wouldn't normally be able to just like search on the internet and find. Mm-hmm. So that's one aspect of it. Okay. Also, I would suggest meetups are a great start if you don't know anybody.
Yes.
You'd be amazed how many people that you can find,
Okay.
and also resources, people that you can connect with. You never know who knows a producer here or who knows, you know, a director there or whatnot. So I would say, you know, expand your resource group
Okay.
that way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I would also add that if you are creating a particular type of content, try to look at what's out there, either online or at other networks, and see if they have something similar. If there's like Animal Planet or another network that has something similar that might have an interest or that appeals to an audience that you're also trying to reach. And then you can solicit them. You can look up on IMDb, like if it's Animal Planet, for instance, try to figure out. And don't be afraid to go to the president or whoever, because sometimes those people aren't as busy as the other workers, so you might be able to get an email or a letter through to them.
I think it's a really cute show. So I would say run down there are probably 10 places that would take something like that. I would write them down. OWN, I can't, Bravo, maybe. You know, there's even down. I've worked with TV1. There's a lot of different places. I would say target them. If you're serious about it and you have your pitch packet already, and you have your write-up, we are this, you know, here is our little sizzle reel, cut it down, keep it under 3 minutes, right? And then walk that thing around, right? So do you have any connections or relationships with anybody that's currently in television production or anything like that? Okay, so no problem. So afterwards, we can chat a little bit. I can't, you know, I don't sign the checks, girl, but, definitely you want to get those names as to who's looking. People are always looking for content right now, right? So it could be the, you know, National Geographic or whatever, the Animal Planet could have a website that their web series will be doing
Or
that.
soliciting,
Yeah,
right.
yeah. So you're gonna have to like get out, thug it out, get in there, find out everybody's name, and then just attack them. Send cold emails.
I can't just be the talent.
You can in a little bit. You know what I mean? And so you can, and you can't. So you can be. Once you get the signature, then you could just be talent. But right now, even if it's production, also don't just think of the company, right? Don't just think of look at the production company that does the dog, whatever the dog whisperer or those types of shows. Who's the production company? Wait till that little signal thing comes at the end, and then look at that, and then go Google them, because they do what you want to do.
Thank you very much.
Any other questions?
Hi, my name is Hadassah. I want to know, how lucrative is it for you to produce your own content and then license it to other networks or bigger channels? I mean, like, how feasible is that? Would they be willing to just license your material? Because you say that they're looking for content all the time.
They are. This is So go ahead.
I think it really depends on the avenue of distribution. So when you're looking at traditional television stations, ABC, NBC, CBS, PBS, they have their format. They have like their menu. These are the types of programs that they show. They're most likely not going to just license your work from you unless it's kind of a co-production or unless it goes through their sausage maker so that it kind of feels like their brand. That's not to say that that wouldn't happen. Whereas someone like Amazon or Netflix or some of these online entities now are doing more relationships with an independent filmmaker or producer who isn't attached to a major production company, who has some type of content that they are interested in, funding and distributing. So it really just depends on who you're approaching, how you approach them.
Okay, okay.
Now, I'll also say, if you can, throw it up on YouTube as well, because there's this one show that's out right now, Smilf. That's how she started it. She wrote it and directed it, and she started, I believe, on YouTube. So she got a lot of likes, a lot of hits, and then they came to her. So that's one way to inspire people to watch your content.
Is there's an expo every year, the New York Television Expo, where you go and sell your shows. Mm-hmm. So is that also like a traditional or a standard way of also getting your content out there, or to sell your content per se? Or is that just strictly I guess what I'm trying to figure out, is that strictly in the area of distribution?
The New York Expo, I believe, is more for distribution and even more so specifically for film. But I would also say that it depends on what your content is, again, because at the end of the day, the bottom line is sales. All of these networks are selling something to a certain audience. So whatever you're trying to put out there has to be in alignment with that. And I have found with some of my own personal production work, which is, I would say, a bit heavy in terms of the content, it's harder to get funding and to publish certain types of content than it is, for instance, whatever we see that's the most popular. And you can see what that is just by turning on any of those networks. And sometimes you may have to make a bit of a compromise and adjust or form your message or your product so that it's in alignment with that end customer at the end of the day.
Hello, my name's Sergine. Just want to say thank you for coming out tonight. I have a question about, since you guys have multiple titles, how do you go about giving advice to someone who's trying to do a drastic career change? Because right now I do freelance makeup and also I'm working customer service, but I am very interested in getting into programming and coding and computer, and I'm at this point, I don't know how do I go about actually applying to this field, being that my background is nowhere relevant to where I'm trying to go to. Do you have any advice to people like that?
Well, for me, I started off as a Luddite, so I had no idea or any experience in technology. So I would just say find a group. There's Black Girls Who Code. There's some other groups that are women. They're a collection of women of various degrees in technology and experience, whether they're coding or engineers or app development or anything like that. And I would also just kind of figure out what do you want to do in technology? What inspires you? What are you passionate about? I mean, do you want to find some way to connect your makeup skill with technology? That could be something. Do you want to create a space like a website? Presenting your craft. So I would say probably start there.
Yeah, I was kind of come towards web developing because aesthetically I just get fun trying to make things look nice and stuff like that. Makeup is just one of them because it is a hobby of mine that I'm actually trying to make some sort of money out of it. But in the grand scheme of things, I just like to try to make things look pretty, and then I like to be in the back end. I don't want to be in the front end of things.
Right.
So that's why I was like, you know what, maybe I should try to get into programming. And I've taken courses, look for events that I could get myself exposed to the stuff. And I realized, okay, I kind of like it. And I was like, all right, so now that I'm fully interested, I'm willing to invest my time. But how do I, kind of connect the dots? But, I'll try to go to the meetups and see if I can make a connection and network with people, because, yeah.
And also General Assembly is really good, too. It's very female-based, and they offer an array of tech classes.
I actually have an event that I'm going there next week. So.
Really, they're very welcoming, so I highly recommend them, too.
I would also add that there's kind of a push now in technology to diversify, and so you can look into intern or training types of programs because they actually want to include women more and to include women of color. So you might be able to find some entry-level position at a company that might even help you further your education in technology.
Any other questions in the audience? Yeah.
Hi, my name is Kate. I'm currently a senior at Hunter College. I'm studying media studies with a concentration of journalism. I guess my question would be, right now I feel like I'm at this point where I'm stuck. I don't know if I want to, be on television or be on the radio or just, do press. And when I look at some internships, I kind of question myself, is that the direction I want to go in? So I guess I'm asking, what would be the best advice to kind of go about it? Should I just go for it or kind of keep looking into it? Or?
So can I say this? Because I used to do internships every semester, every summer, all different places. Here's the thing. Any internship is great because if it doesn't tell you what you want to do, it tells you what you do not want to do. And so it's 3 months. Just jump in. wherever you think that you have an interest, and if they let you in the door, go in and just dive in and do as much as you can while you're there, and then you'll see if you don't like it. But if you don't try it, then you won't know, and it won't help. All these experiences will help sculpt the professional that you want to be. So just try them all, I would say. But start with the one that you would do for free forever. Like, if I could just do that. And then that's the one. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I would say if you can get a job where you're getting paid, you're already a senior in college and you have some knowledge in this area, don't work for free. Try to find an entry-level position somewhere that may be able to give you some relevant experience, and you could still do the same thing. You don't have to make a whole career there. You can see how you like it, see where that leads you, see if there are other opportunities open up. But one of my professors in school told me, like, when you graduate, if I see you doing an internship, I'm going to kick you because you're too smart. You need to get paid. So it's nice to, like, dabble around, but while you're doing it, get paid for it.
We are just going to agree to disagree. And I feel her. Like, I know what you're saying. I feel you. I feel her. So we're not even. So I'll just say this. Think about how fast you want to get in. Because it might take me, like, let's say it was BT, let's say it was MTV, let's say wherever it was, right? Sometimes entertainment jobs can be different, right? So then, like, tech places can be different. My friends at law firms, my friends that majored in business, they didn't have this problem. They never had to think about working for free, right? Mm-hmm. But I had to, I had to apply on the spot and just get in, and it was like 3 months, you know what I mean? And so then you were out. And so I actually interned after I graduated. I lied about still being in school so that I could intern someplace, because for me, I wanted to it was like getting into the company, like burrowing a hole into the company. And then the last place that I did that at, 3 months later, I was making really good money because I knew how to edit. And so then when the jobs opened up, they know me. So I'll say I get both things, but I just say when I say the part about, go to a place where you will work for free, I just meant passion-wise. Mm-hmm. Like, that will tell you what you love. Like, I would just do this for free. That will kind of steer you as far as where you might want to go first. But then get your money as soon as you can.
Right. As soon as you can. Yes. Yes. As soon as you can. Yes.
I saw a hand over here. So yes. Here you go, young lady.
Hi, how are you, ladies? Hi. My name is Imani. I'm a filmmaker. I'm actually, taking a leap of faith and, trying to just, commit to, fully pursuing my career. And so, my goal is to be, a director/cinematographer, right? So, right now, what I'm trying to do, I'm pretty much just, asking for advice, any counsel you guys could give me. Because right now, what I want to do is just, start creating my own content, as far as, writing and, producing my own things. But it's just, I'm broke. I don't have any money. So, I'm right now we're actually working on scripts that we're putting together. So we want to pitch them to people so we can get money to get funding, so we can start our career as directors as opposed to going another route. So do you guys have any advice on that?
Advice on funding, especially.
Well, might not get some money when you first start off, but what's available to you are workshops and also fellowships. So I think one that's coming up is Sundance, which is something I would totally advise you to submit to, because they also take in teams. So they take in directing teams and writer teams, and once you get into that fellowship, then you're spending I think a month or two, and you're being mentored by people who are actually in the business. New York Women in Film and Television is also another one. They have one that's coming up this spring. There's Made in New York. Is also a fellowship. I'm trying to think what else. That's all I can think of off the top of my head as far as but there's a lot, and you can actually Google it. I love Google. Google is the best teacher. But that's just some that you can get to right now. But it might take a while before you're able to get funding, but you want to get the training and connect with mentors, and then I help you get on the path, and then you can produce your script and get your work out there, and then go from there.
Yeah, there's also competitive film festivals like Rip Fest, for instance, where it's a very minimal budget, the whole production is $500, and there's professionals who work on the production with you, and it's a way to get your work out there. They have their built-in marketing, and you can participate in whatever role, be it a writer, director, actor, whatever the case may be, and it gives you an opportunity to have experience producing a film without it there being a large budget, and there's an outlet for it, and you make great connections. So Rip Fest is one that I can think of. There's like a 48-hour film festival, and really the cost is not that much. Like, you can do wonders with the iPhone these days. Maybe just get, like, you know, use natural lighting, get a microphone. Like, you don't think about it in terms of the money that you need. Just think about your story, making it strong, and like figure out how to make it, because you can wait and wait and wait and apply for funding. You can apply for grants. There's lots of those, but
What they said.
Thank you. Okay. Any other questions? Come on, folks. Let's pick these ladies' brains. There's information to be had there.
Are we standing up? Hi, my name is Madeline. So I just recently graduated from college, my master's this past year. I'm in the field of technology. Thank you. So I just recently started at Ernst & Young. It's a Fortune 500 consulting firm, and I do technology advising for financial clients. And I want to know, how do you ladies, as you've advanced in your careers, go about maintaining work-life balance? I know that
Sorry.
for me, like in school, I used to go home, study or whatever, but then I can party and I can sleep and I can binge watch and all that stuff. And now I'm adulting, and it's like I'm working all the time, and I don't get to just hang out as much like that. So
Yes.
it's like, do you have any tips, or what do you recommend to do?
Besides coffee.
Well, for me, I have to have at least one day just for myself.
Okay.
I do whatever I want on that day. Sleep all day, watch TV all day, eat all day, whatever. One day I just keep for myself, whatever that day is. You know, you have to have time for yourself so you can recharge, get energized, you
So
know.
true.
But self-care, absolutely. Yeah.
Don't ask. I ain't figured it out, girl. I don't know. I don't know. She will tell you sometimes project to project. It can vary. I don't know what this personality trait of mine is, but I have not figured that out. It is very, thank God for sending you to ask the question for me to think about tonight as I go back to work. So I don't know the answer, but I will say just plot on what makes you happy and try to wedge as much of that thing or those things or those people into your life as possible. And I'll just give you just one example. So my mom passed away when I was really young, or not really young, I was an adult. And so you kind of think you have this forever amount of time, and then something will happen and you realize that you don't. And so that kind of made me very hyper aware of the time that I have, and wanting to do with that time what I want. So I'll just say, kind of put that in the back of your brain. For me, it's still a challenge, but it's, you asking the right question right now, so clearly you'll be all right with it. So just carve out your space.
Yeah, I mean, I would have to agree that it is very important to maintain a work-life balance, but I don't think there's one formula. I think it's very individualized. And I agree that knowing what your priorities are is important. And a bit of advice that my mom gave to me was to make sure that you take time for yourself, build in time for yourself. Whatever that is, if it's vacation time, if it's downtime, if it's you do yoga practice or going to the gym, whatever you can do, because tomorrow, next week, next year is not promised. You can't just work hard and then be like, I'm going to retire and then I'll take a vacation. So take time for yourself. Work hard, play hard. Sometimes I've gone a little too far on the play hard, but at least I know I'm very happy.
All right, so we have time for one more question. I'm shocked nobody has a question.
Hi, my name is Cheyenne. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I just want to say thank you for coming here. I just recently did a research paper on the lack of diversity and women of color behind the scenes. So it's actually great to see you here, like seeing is believing. It feels real to see you guys, women of color working behind the scenes and like successful at what you do. My question is, how impactful is it? How much of an impact is it to have a mentor? And do you any of you women like offer, like have mentors and take students under your umbrella?
I will. You want to get to work? Sure. I get to work now. I don't just talk to my mentees. What? I collect people all the time. I joke to my friends, I collect geniuses. So in every job I've ever been in, like even my people that are older than me, I'm like, you're with me, we're forever. So I guess yes, it generally happens naturally. But if you want to come get to work, girl, you know, we can talk after this, and you can be a mentee on the job. I'll put you all to work. Don't play around. So.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, like Malcolm X said, each one teach one. As I've gotten older, I realized that I'm not going to be doing what I'm doing forever, and I definitely want to teach more people, you know, how to do what I do. I taught my daughter, but she just went to a whole nother technology level.
Yeah.
Building your community, definitely.
Yeah.
But yeah, stalk people too.
Yeah.
Whoever's doing whatever you want to do, like, just ask them. Most people may not, even if it's an actor, some superstar that you feel like you shouldn't talk to or whatever, just ask them. Because if they were put in your path, they were put in your path for a reason. Mm-hmm. So don't ignore that, and just go for it. What's the worst that can happen? They could be like, get out of here, you. I mean, you have a messed up story to tell on the internet. You know.
But also I say too, like once you learn something, pass it along too, because you know, pay it forward. Because someone gave you that information, pass it on to someone else too.
All right. Well, thank you, ladies. Let me thank the audience first for joining us and being part of our discussion. I'm hoping for you and the folks at home that are watching that you were able to take some information and value from the discussion. And let's give a round of applause for our panelists. So, if nothing else, just remember what they said. Stick to your guns in terms of the money that you want, jumping into the industry, and staying true and not compromising yourself or your integrity. So with that being said, folks, thank you for joining us. And this is Media Talk. Good night.